Hi, this is Barry. Welcome to the demo of Cisco Secure Web Appliance, also known as Web Security Appliance, WSA. WSA helps detect and block web-based threats with very granular control, like providing an in-depth URL filtering and reputation analysis, multiple antivirus engines, layer 4 traffic monitoring, malware defense, and cognitive threat analytics. Also has very flexible deployment options, physical virtual cloud, or either transparent inline, or um, or with Packfile, all those different options. Also integrates into SecureX. So let's do show you the UI. This is, with the 12.0, we have a lot of new updates, including high performance on certain platforms. We're talking maybe 3 times more or more performance enhancement. We also support TLS version 1.3. Also integration into threat response. And to show you the main interface, we first land in the dashboard with basic information like user count and traffic and system resource utilization. You can drill into details there. You can customize this page or print to PDF. You can, also change the time range, between hours or days, or you can customize it. And you can see basic activities, how many proxy activity, what are suspect transactions or what are clean transactions. And it also breaks down into suspect transactions, why they're considered that, either based on your category or application or web reputation, etc. And it also breaks down, other information like, top transactions, who's the, what are the most, visited category, and total transactions for different application types. Um, Also, we can see, whether there are any malware identified and what they are. Um, and the next would be, I would like to show you the websites. What are the websites that's being visited? And we can see it here. We can change daily, week, or days. And another thing is categories. We can see what URL categories has been accessed, and how many access to each of the URL categories. We can also see malware protection, which is AMP. So with AMP, we can see how many files are handled by AMP that turn out to be clean, or malicious, or unscannable. And it breaks down and gives us the details, counts, and we can also see the SHA-256 of the files, malicious files, and also we can see, very importantly, what category those malicious files are. Right here, we can see all of them are malware, and we can also drill into details there. What kind of malware are they? What's the threat name and all that. So let's drill into Web Security Manager, which is where we define most of our policies. So with policies, the first thing we usually start is identities, right? So how do we identify our users? There are certain devices that, like IoT devices, that doesn't support authentication. So we can bypass authentication, with defined subnets or IP addresses. Or there are certain devices that has a user agent. We can use that to identify, like, for example, Safari, Apple devices, right? And also, we support different authentication methods, like whether it's Kerberos, or Basic, or NTLM, and the rest are cached by the global identity profile. The next thing would be the actual access policies. This is the majority of our of our policy configuration. And we can define policies based on user grouping. And you can see a CEO, finance, or marketing, they have their own different policies. And we have policies like URL filtering and application, like say, for example, Facebook, whether you maybe we allow people to access Facebook, but we don't allow them to access Facebook games or posting or things like that. So very granular control. And anti-malware reputation with with AMP, and you can see that we have that enabled in our global policy here. Let's take a quick dive into the URL filtering. So this would show us, what are the URL filterings and how do we, either allow or block or warn on those categories. So let's say, for example, adult content is not relevant to the business, so we block them, and we monitor, majority of them. And let's say alcohol, maybe people are doing some research about it, and we will provide like a warning message, and they can click accept and still go. And we can also provide a quota-based, which is traffic or time-based access to certain category. And you can see that we have lots of different categories that we could utilize here. And we can also define exceptions and all that. So with the and you saw that we also have some custom categories, right? So want to quickly dive into that. Some use cases like Office 365 that we might not need to do a lot of scanning or filtering on that. So maybe we want to define a custom policy, but the challenge would be a lot of these URLs are dynamic. Microsoft might be changing them from time to time. So we could utilize a feed. So this is a very important feature that we can take WSA can go download this list and put it into the dynamic category, so we don't have to update it manually from time to time. And then we can define the actions on these user defined or external URL category. Another thing is the acceptable users control. So this is we need to make sure of course all of these engines are enabled, like the AUC or the application visibility and control dynamic content analytics engine. These are enabled, and also shows the version of them and whether we need update. And also end user notification. This is where for example, the warning message that we display for alcohol content. Here we can define a customizable page that shows the user, hey, whether we show the company logo or the Cisco logo, what content we want to display, and who to contact, whether it's their network administrator or whatnot, right? So next is L4 traffic monitoring. This is an important feature where, if you want to monitor traffic that's out of like 80 and 443 or the ports that you define, you can send all the traffic there and have WSA reactively just monitor what's going on. And we could potentially send a reset, and try and attempt to block, if it's a malicious connection. And next, I want to quickly talk about the new UI. So as you can see, the old UI has been around for a long time, and the new UI provides a major facelift and also very easy to understand layout with basically the very similar detail that we just went through a while ago. But you can see it's broken down very nicely into what we can recognize very quickly. And same thing as before, we can do some search, like web tracking search. We didn't do it in the old interface, but the concept is very similar. We could do a search based on any information like time range and user IP address and whatnot, and we could also search websites like Google.com, and we can search all the details on who accessed Google, and you can also browse into like the actual details of that as well. So that's a quick demo about WSA. I hope you find it helpful. Thank you so much.